You know, life was a lot easier, a lot simpler about, 52 weeks ago.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA's radio network. Luke Robinson, that's me. Bama Online's Jimmy Stein, that's him. And boy, he was busy yesterday. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. I want to thank you every day for being here every day, and thank you newbies for being here today. Jimmy, yesterday we were having a talk about the transfer portal. Things certainly got wild, but in the middle of it, I said, I wonder where the word portal comes from. Turns out, I did research last night because it dawned on me. It's an old Gaelic word, which means Luke hates this crap. And I'm just tired of the transfer portal in general. And it's not even necessarily relegated to just Bama stuff. This has gotten beyond ridiculously stupid. And if somebody's going to tell me, oh, you just don't want the kids to make money. Make all the money. But just for the love of God, we have to stop this. If you're out there and you think this is a good way to manage anything, then you need to be drug tested. That's the only thing left, is to be drug tested for all the drugs, all of them. But Jimmy, let's go back over yesterday. I'm going to give a quick synopsis, and then you tell me if I forgot something, and then you just fill in blanks where you want to. Jaylen Mbakwe was rumored around lunchtime to be going into the portal, and then people said, no, he's not. And then he actually did go in the portal, and now he may not be leaving Alabama for a rumored big payday at Ole Miss. That's the rumor.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he's in the portal. I think he's done the paperwork. I don't know that it's been submitted.
If you've
literally.
How do we know he's done? Does he just do the paperwork and keep it on his desk and say, I've done the paperwork? I mean,
yeah, I think paperwork is a word just for email, but Mbakwe, probably the best way to describe what we think is going on is Mbakwe is seriously considering entering the portal, or he may not. But that is a fact. It's not, even though it hasn't happened, or it may or may not happen. Even as we record this, and we're recording, people should know that we're recording this on Tuesday morning at 8:00, because I'm sure by the time this is out, who knows what will have happened.
Well, what
it's
it's done
really fast right now.
What the portal has done is turned every player's situation into a Philip Marshall article. If you've ever read an article by Philip Marshall, he's always like, Auburn may go 11-0 this year. They may go 0-11. But they may go somewhere that's in between those numbers. We just don't know until it happens. That's not news. Jaylen Mbakwe may be in the portal. He may not be.
Well,
but
I mean,
he's not all the way. And if he isn't, that doesn't mean he won't. Yeah, none of that is news.
It's definitely news in the terms of what all happened yesterday. I mean, I can't even go over it all. It's just nuts. But no, let's just put it this way. There is no final decision on whether Jaylen Mbakwe is going to be with Alabama or not. I'm not going to be surprised either way based on what I know right now. I'm not going to be surprised if he stays. I'm not going to be surprised if he goes. A couple of things to keep in mind, though, about what Luke has said just so far. I think it's really, first of all, I think we all hate the transfer portal because there's no rules, there's no system. So we all hate the portal and how it works. But it's easy to get frustrated with it right now if you're an Alabama fan, simply because we've lost, I think, 13 or 14 players to the portal and haven't signed anyone out of the portal except for a walk-on long snapper. So when you're down 14 and haven't signed any, it's very easy to get frustrated and say this stinks because you're not getting anything out of the portal. But let's remember that over the course of history, largely Alabama's been a winner in the portal in terms of getting more out of it than they put into it in terms of quality. So I still think that's going to happen. Nick Saban, and since no one wants to talk about DeBoer, Nick Saban signed his first player out of the portal when things were normal and regular 2 cycles ago, December 27th. and it's December 17th today. Last year, this is the 1-year anniversary, by the way. DeBoer at Washington during the same cycle, first guy he signed, December 17th, which is today. So I don't think that we should be even remotely panicked about Alabama not bought anybody in yet. So far, this has been typical. I think it's just tough to watch one player after another file into the portal when you're not signing anyone out of it. But this is so far typical of what happens.
You do feel sorry for David Byrd, who is the aforementioned long snapper who committed to Alabama, because I mean, all I could think about when it was put out there, and they had the graphic of David Byrd, this long snapper who looks exactly like a long snapper, and he's got sort of not sort of a mustache. It is a mustache. It's a full mustache, but it looks like somebody that Jack Tripper's friend Larry would be hanging out with at the Regal Beagle in a way, which is kind of cool. But I felt like when that was put out, in the middle of all this Mbakwe stuff, and then Emmanuel Henderson getting in the portal, and Mario Cravers visiting, and Devonta Smith's committing to Notre Dame, while all that was going on, Alabama announces, or David Byrd announces, one of the two, that he's committed to Alabama, and all I could think was, "Not now, David. We'll get to you later. Not now." I mean, that's all I could think, and I feel sorry for him because I do appreciate his commitment. And if you don't think a long snapper is important, just try playing a game without one. Again,
it wouldn't work very well. By the way, that guy's a very good long snapper. This is a coup for Alabama, particularly since he's agreed to walk on. It's a coup. I mean, this guy's good. He was the long snapper for Cal this past 2 seasons and has not had an errant snap, and was the number 1 long snapper out of the Cole kicking camp 2 years ago. And that's the biggest one for long snappers. So this was a big pickup for Alabama, but it's not a scholarship guy. And like Luke said, he gets drowned out in all the other transfer portal news because there's a lot of it. And if we know anything about yesterday, there is more to come.
And based on his mustache, he's agreed to strut on, not walk on, but that's okay.
Pedro Pascal to me. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
The actor?
The actor who's in Gladiator. He's also in The Last of Us. And
Yeah. That's what he looks like to me, which is a compliment. I think I hear that guy's popular with the ladies.
He was the main villain. Like, I think his burst onto the scene was he was the main villain in The Equalizer 2.
Really?
Yeah, he was the guy that was supposed to be Denzel Washington's friend, like that. Was so upset.
Yeah, I saw Equalizer 2.
I'm going to tell you. By the way, this is
Equalizer 2, where they had the shootout at the end of like a Home Depot.
No, that's Equalizer 1.
Okay,
and I'm so sorry for those who have any respect for me that I know so much about the Equalizer movies, but for whatever reason, I cannot not watch them if they're on. I put on the Equalizer and the Equalizer 2. The Equalizer 3, I can sort of take it or leave it. The only one I like, the only real part I like is in the very beginning when he tells the guy, he's like putting the pressure points on the guy's thumb. Yeah. And he's like, okay, that's a level 3. If I go to level 5, you're gonna lose control of your bowels. He said it in another way, but he said you're gonna lose control of your bowels. Nobody wants that. Nobody in this whole restaurant. And I was like, that is so true. Like, I would not want that at all. I was just over there eating my garlic bread or wherever they were in Italy.
Do you watch the Equalizer series on CBS?
No, because it's Queen Latifah, and the Equalizer back in the day was an old British dude. Like I remember watching the old Equalizer back with my dad. It was back when, oh God, I know way too much about the old Equalizer and the new Equalizer, and I don't like the new TV Equalizer. I'm fine with Queen Latifah, but she's not an equalizer. She's a D. If the show was named the De-Equalizer, I I might watch it. Or yeah, I'm not Equalizer.
I have not seen
it. Doesn't matter. But man, I was reminded too of an old Sports Center quote. I think Dan Patrick used to say this. All these guys in or not in the portal is such unnews that it's news, that it's sort of like that old quote about, well, the transfer portal is day to day. Well, aren't we all?
No,
Aren't we always day to? I mean, that's what a terrible injury report they used to put out. He is day to day. I'm day to day right now.
Yeah, one of the things I want to find today is updated numbers on the rest of the SEC. How many players from the other SEC teams have entered the portal just to see where Alabama sits there? I think Alabama's probably a little over the average right now. I'm guessing that based on the early looks, but the numbers are all skewed by, for instance, Arkansas. You know how many players they have in the portal?
Like
Alabama's got what?
30
27.
Yeah.
27. I mean, that is a disaster, including multiple starters. That's a disaster. What Alabama's having right now is fairly typical. And yes, Alabama's lost high profile. Mbakwe's high profile. Justice Haynes is high profile. But you know what? They weren't starters. Jam Miller's the starting running back. The starting corners are Damani Jackson and Xavier Brown. They're just high profile guys.
Wait, I'm muted. They're high profile because of where they were at Alabama, and because people know Alabama's recruiting. That's why they're high profile. All right, we got to take a break, but we're going to keep talking about this because really it's the only dead gum thing going on. College football playoffs about to happen, y'all. I know we're not in it. I know you're upset, but I'm still going to enjoy it, especially this first game, because it's that time of year. The college football playoff is back, and with the newly expanded 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever. It'd be even better if Alabama win it, but so be it. Bringing you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT Sports coverage of the college football playoffs begins December 21st, starting with the college football kickoff show presented by AT&T at 10 o'clock Central, leading into our first matchup, the Southern Methodist University Mustangs battling the Penn State Nittany Lions. Then the Clemson Tigers looked to upset the Texas Longhorns in a showdown at 3 o'clock Central. Don't miss a moment of the action. Watch the college football playoff show presented by, and the whole college football playoff, by the way, because the whole thing is presented by Allstate, live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. Skip the equalizer that day and watch those.
I think the equalizer comes on Sunday nights. Pretty sure
it does, and it did back in the day. It came on like around Murder, She Wrote.
You even know that? That's amazing. Hey, well, I think on the prediction show, on our final show this week, which we always call the prediction show, I think we should predict the playoff games.
We will do that begrudgingly, but I will do it.
I'm interested.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not super fired up about it, but I will do it.
Oh, I'm interested. As a matter of fact, I get kind of I'm rooting for all the teams that played a tough schedule. That's literally what I'm doing. I'm rooting for the teams that played a tough schedule. I'm trying to prove a point here.
Yeah. Don't y'all let me down.
Don't let me down, because I'm very invested in this. So looking at you, Penn State, looking at you, Notre Dame, who didn't play a tough schedule, by the way.
Do you think
I think your case is more legitimate than Indiana. So
do you think that
rooting for Notre Dame, rooting for Penn State, rooting for Texas? I think the legit awesome game.
Texas' schedule wasn't hard. Give me a break.
Well, I'm rooting for Texas because they belong. To me, Texas belongs.
Okay.
Clemson, I get that Clemson had an automatic bid, but I'm against. See, I think for the playoff, there should be parameters with all this stuff. If you win your conference, you get an automatic bid. If you're ranked in the top, whatever we decide, and maybe Clemson, I would say top 15. But I'm just uncomfortable inviting teams outside of, like, for instance, a top 15 into the event just because you won your league. Do
you think scientists, when they have theories about, what two atoms will do if they're put into a situation of, if they're put into a big heated thing, or I don't know how scientists do stuff, but let's say they're looking at quarks or whatever those things are. And they're like, I need this quark to grow 4 times its size for my theory to be right. Don't you let me down, you stupid quark, whatever a quark is. All right.
I'm sure.
All right. More people that got in the portal. First of all, I did find a picture while you were talking. This is the old equalizer, the original equalizer. If you Googled or went to Chat GPT and said, show me the opposite of Queen Latifah, that would be it. So, but anyway, all right. So E-Man Henderson. I'm calling him. I used to tell you, I used to admonish you for calling him E-Man Henderson. Now, call him whatever you want. I'm not really mad at him. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. This is a different situation than Mbakwe to me. And I'm not upset that E-Man has left because I think he wants to be a more significant player somewhere else. And he would be a more significant player if he chooses wisely somewhere else. Appreciate the effort. Good player. Had he not left, I think I would have been great, but I don't believe he would be among our top 5 wide receivers next fall based on who I think we're going to end up getting out of the portal.
Yeah, and again, he is the definition of jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. I mean, I don't know that he's not a bad return man. I wouldn't call him a good one. I mean, he's not a bad receiver. I wouldn't call him a good one. I mean, again, what did he do this year? He had a big catch on the first drive against Georgia that I remember. And literally, other than that, I can't think of much.
Yeah. And a lot of that's the offense. And we didn't have a ton of pass attempts. Again, 23, 24 pass attempts a game. You're not going to be spreading it around to a lot of wide receivers when you're only throwing it 23, 24 times a game. That's not on him. I think he's a good player. And I think he would be better served going to a place where he would be more featured. He's not going to be a featured player at Alabama, and he's a senior next year. So I think with E-Man, I think the transfer portal is, for as much as we wail about it, and we are right to do that, I think the transfer portal serves someone like Emmanuel Henderson really well.
Yeah, it is. It wasn't meant to be a bargaining chip. It was meant to be a way for kids to go find another avenue to play.
Yeah,
it wasn't meant to be. I'm going to get in there and
unless you meet my demands.
Yeah, unless you. I mean, wasn't meant there to hold the school hostage.
That's why I say I don't want to get off what we're doing, but that's why I say it's the transfer portal in and of itself is fine. NIL in and of itself is fine. When you combine the transfer portal and NIL, now there's a problem. Now you've got the I'm going in the portal unless you meet my demands type stuff that just sort of wrecks college football.
But the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Any social construct that we have that is for the most part good, there will be somebody who looks at it negatively because somebody has abused it. Yeah. Anything, any kind of charity, or if you're ever somebody super rich and you donate money to something, people go, you just want the write-off. Well, okay, but can I not do it this way? And then there are people like, yeah, I just want the write-off. I don't really care about those 6 children at all.
Things are good, and they get invariably screwed up, like when they replaced the equalizer, Denzel Washington, with Queen Latifah.
Not unlike.
They screwed it up for at least Luke.
Yeah, they did screw it up for just me.
Many people listening to the show, I'm sure, love those.
I remember when they announced his coming back as a show, and I was like, God, what old British dude are they going to get to do this? And they're like, starring Queen Latifah. I'm like, I mean, and then Denzel Washington, of course, did the movie before that. So I'm sort of like, I could take Denzel. Give me Denzel in that role. I mean, so anyway.
The old British dude that played Arthur's butler.
Played Arthur's, but in the Arthur movies,
Dudley Moore, Moore Arthur movie.
All I know is he got caught between the moon in New York City. All right, Devonta Smith is committed to Notre Dame, which also it's also sort of like, okay, we were on board with your girlfriend is having a child or something, or somebody's sick. I mean, you heard all the rumors, and I'm like, okay, but. And Notre Dame is closer.
It is closer.
But this sounds much more like a money grab now.
I believe that that's largely correct.
Okay, so again, I'm not anti go get your money because everybody can, but I'm sort of like, don't give me the girlfriend factored into it. It probably didn't.
I don't know that he said that. It was just, I think Alabama, I think we were looking for why did this happen? Because it's unusual for starters to leave. Let's be honest. Devonta Smith is the only true starter who has left because Haynes was a number 2 back. And, Devonta Smith was the only starter that's left. And I think people look for reasons. And I've said this many, many times. We're going to root for Emmanuel Henderson. I know I am. I believe Luke will too. I think we're going to root for Emmanuel no matter where he goes. Like, hey, I hope things work out for him. I think I know speaking for myself, I get frustrated with the starters who leave. And I know they might make some more money somewhere else. I get that part, and I don't begrudge someone leaving because they're going to make more money somewhere else. I don't like go, oh, what a terrible person. I get it, but you know what? I'm probably not going to root for Devonta like I root for the others. He was a starter at Alabama. Alabama handed him that platform. He earned it on Alabama's practice field. Alabama was preparing him for an NFL career. He graduated from Alabama. Again, Alabama, I get a little more. I'm just not a fan of the starters that leave.
Well, plus he was sort of one of those, if they ain't wearing crimson guys, he was very gumpish. And I don't like phony gumpism. There's nothing, I don't like it out of fans, and I don't like it out of players.
Yeah, right. I'm not hating on him. I don't think we're hating
I'm not either.
I get it. I'm not wishing ill will or anything like that. But I'm just saying I'm still a big fan of Emmanuel Henderson. I'm not. And if Mbakwe leaves for Ole Miss or wherever he's going, I'm not going to be a fan of that because he's not a starter, but he plays a ton.
We certainly were grooming him to start. Possibly
he's going to be a starter. Now, I don't know about next year, and I think that is the point that people are missing is about Mbakwe is, look, he's behind Damani Jackson and Xavier Brown. That's probably not going to change. For him to get on the field, he's going to have to move to Husky or safety. And I don't know that he wants to do that, or should he, because, frankly, Mbakwe is an NFL athlete or an NFL-level athlete, and safeties make a lot less money than corners in the NFL. These guys that can play cornerback don't want to move, nor should they, because that's a bigger money-making position in pro football. And moving to safety just to get on the field, I don't know that that's really in his best interest long-term. We'll see.
All right, going to talk a little FanDuel now because FanDuel is the best. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Now we're going to go back to Prize Picks because Prize Picks is back on board, and we're glad to have them. Man, I love you, Prize Picks. Thank you, Prize Picks. That was me being choked up. Hi there. Thanks for being a Prize Picks person. We love you. Make your holidays even bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Those are Austin Powers, Dr. Evil numbers. You can win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during what they're calling Pixmas. I like it. I see what you did there. You think James Cook will get more than 60 yards next week, or Joe Burrow will pass for more than 1.5 TDs? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use that code LOCKEDONCollege and get $50 after you play your first $5 lineup. I was told to repeat that, so I did. It is highly encouraged to voice your voice when you're out there picking your thing. Prize Picks, run your game. You're going to love it. It's a lot of fun. It makes hanging out with your family so much easier. I added that last part. I don't know if that's true. I'm guessing it's true. It's true from my family. The family that gambles together stays together. There's no doubt. Because they have to, because they need to borrow money from each other. But Vodney Cleveland has decommitted. This is my last piece of negative news. I don't care what else is on my sheet. Vodney Cleveland is decommitted, and he's one of the linemen at Parker that helped Parker win a state championship about a week and a half ago in Birmingham. Really good player. He says he is definitely still seriously considering Alabama. My guess is he has looked around and seen everybody else going on these visits, having a blast, being treated like royalty, eating sweetbreads and, unicorn Boston butts and whatever else, and going, I want my piece of that action. So if he's uncommitted,
I would like some sweetbread.
Yeah. Sure. I don't know. I don't. You know what they are, right?
I don't even know. It just sounded good, frankly.
No, it's deer gonads, or not deer. Something. Yeah, maybe it is deer
bread.
It's anything gonads. Some kind of gonads. Yeah.
Sweet bread is.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a cinnamon bun.
Me too. But until I ordered it that one time, and it was not a cinnamon bun.
Well, good tip. Thanks for the tip. Might have ordered that.
At least I think it is. God Almighty, I've never ordered it, so I don't really know. I shouldn't have. I
doubt it's why Vodney Cleveland.
Now I'm trapped because people are going to be like, "You idiot, it's not."
Yeah.
Or you idiot, of course it is. And I mean, I'm in more trouble than you now, but it doesn't matter. Good news: Zion Gibson, who's over at Gadsden, he is going to be announcing his commitment. He said he's going to announce on December 24th. Most people believe that to be Alabama. He has also scheduled his decommitment for January 18th.
Good one.
I mean,
Good.
I had to write that down because I was like, well, now, I mean, they might as well start scheduling their decommitments.
I'm not a recruiting reporter for BOL, although I do have some duties whenever there's a commitment. I do have some minor duties. But and Joseph Hastings is our primary recruiting reporter, which means that when a kid commits, he's got to put out the story and do an interview and all that stuff. And not complaining at all, because I celebrate every Alabama commitment. But these holiday commitments, not many of you out there probably have to say while they're doing Christmas with their families, hold on. Alabama's got a commitment. I have to go to work.
I know this is Grandpa's last Christmas, and he's in the middle of his farewell speech.
But I have to go to work now. But that's literally what happens to these poor. So I'm just saying, say a prayer for JoJo Hastings at BOL over holiday commitments, because it is like, it's a happy occasion, isn't it? But so many of them are on holidays, and watch there be one on Christmas. You know why the kids do it? Because their families are there. I think the kids want to commit on holidays because all their families there when the blessed announcement, happens. So
oh my God, Jimmy, I said I wasn't going to do any more negative stuff, and I'm sorry to cut you off. Damon Payne just got in the transfer portal.
That's well, here we are, live reaction. I'm not surprised. Put it this way. What do these players have in common, Luke? If I name these players, what do they have in common? Justice Haynes, Jaylen Mbakwe, Damon Payne, Emmanuel Henderson. These are players who contribute, but they don't start.
And they were all highly recruited. So
they're all highly recruited players. They're also, some of them are running out of eligibility. In other words, this is who you lose. Your second team guy. See, some of your third and fourth team guys are like, I got to move up. I got to work on moving up. Nobody's hurt. Nobody knows. But the guys who are playing but not playing enough, that's who gets in the portal. And this is a blow in the sense that Damon Payne's a good player. Is he great? No.
He wasn't starting, right?
No, but he played with the ones. He played with the ones a lot. I mean, the starters, as I see them, next year on the defensive line, based on what we have at this moment, LT Overton at bandit, Tim Keenan at nose guard, and James Smith at defensive tackle. Those will be your starters. But see, we play a rotation of guys. Other guys are going to play, and Damon Payne would definitely be one of those guys. So it's a loss. I would say this loss is really similar to losing Jaheim Otis, a healthy Jaheim Otis. He's a player, and he's going to be in the rotation. But the starters, the headliners, probably not. And that's why he wants to leave. He wants to be a headliner.
But the great irony is going to be by the time spring practice rolls around, we're going to have that gif of Instead of Will Smith, it's going to be Ryan Williams looking around the room at the old Prince of Bel-Air set, and it's totally empty. There's no furniture. There's no nothing. Another
thing to remember is most of these guys that are leaving were committed to Nick Saban. Most of them were committed to Nick Saban, not Kalen DeBoer. And a little bit like last year, they want to choose their coach. That has some to do with it as well, I'm sure. And getting under 85, I know Alabama's under 85 now, particularly now that you count Damon Payne. But we do need to remember a certain amount of players had to leave just to make room for the 21 new guys coming in that you just signed a couple of weeks ago. There had to be room for them. Now there is, but you want to bring in now there is.
There's leg room.
Now you want to also bring in transfer portal guys. You want to sign guys out of the portal. There has to be room.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish you wouldn't quit talking right when my other phone is ringing.
Oh, sorry. I still have a lot to say, but Damon Payne will be missed. All these players recently that have got in the portal, they're going to be missed because they're contributors. But the only player that left that I would project as a first-team starter for next year is Devonta Smith. And even he was getting pushed by Red Morgan and Deshaun Jones. So it wasn't even a certainty that Devonta Smith would start because he did share time with those guys. And frankly, up to me, and it's not up to me, I like Deshaun Jones at that spot because I like a guy with cover skills at Husky, not just a physical presence.
One final thing that I guess this at least makes me feel a little better about Damon Payne getting in the portal. He was a former 5-star, but he's only got 14 tackles this year. We've played how many games? What are we? We're 9-3. We've played 12 games. He's averaging a tiny bit more than a tackle per game. So, let's not pretend like this is the worst thing that ever happened, but let's also not pretend like this doesn't affect depth. It does.
Yeah, it does. But again, second team guy. Payne, second team. Mbakwe, second team. Justice Haynes, second team. Odom, Henderson, Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice. They all played, but not like Ryan and Germ play. They don't play their snaps because they're not the starters like they are.
All right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. I got to go bolt the medicine cabinet. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.